This video is to show you how to complete the create a cartoon text effect in Photoshop. From Canvas, you're going to go and make sure you're downloading all three of these files. Remember to click the download button, do not the file name, because the file cannot open in the internet, so you have to download it to the computer first and then open it from the folder. After I've downloaded my files, I have moved them, dragged and dropped them from the downloads folder into my documents folder and the folder I created with my name. You need to do the same. So you're going to have to click on downloads and drag those files over to documents like you've been doing, and drag them from documents into the folder you created with your name. Once you have the files here, you're not going to immediately open them. We have to install the font and we have to install the pattern. So we are going to click once on the font file, grab button R to activate it, and then we're going to right click and we're going to click install. Your screen might look slightly different, but you're going to click the same install button and the font is going to install into Photoshop in the background. The next step is to click once on the red dots file and you're going to right click and you're going to go to open with Photoshop. We have our red dots pattern open. We're going to add it to our pattern library by going to Edit, Define Pattern, and we're going to save it as whatever the default pattern name is and just say OK. Then we're going to close the tab for reddots.jpg, this file only, but leave Photoshop open because we're going to open up the background file next. Okay, from the home screen, you can either do the open button, yours is probably at the top, mine is down here, or you can do File, Open. And you guys are going to open up the star background file that's in your documents. I'm going to come back when my document is open. We have our star background layer open. We're going to create a new layer for the text. And we can do that by clicking the plus sign at the bottom of the layers panel as usual. Layer 1 is going to appear. We need to click on the text tool to activate it in the toolbar. Make sure you get the horizontal type tool and not the vertical one. Okay, it's just a regular type tool with no arrow. We're going to type in our font at the top, and the name of that new font that we just installed is called Brady Bunch, so we can type that in. Once you start typing Brady, it should show. It's called Brady Bunch Remastered Regular. We click on it. The font size is 212 and you're going to type that in. The color can be any color, but I chose to make mine white, and so I typed in the 6Fs, the hexadecimal code for white on the internet, and we're going to say OK. Then we click on our canvas, and instead of typing the word smash, we're going to type the word text in, because it just makes more sense to me to type something meaningful. I can see something like this maybe being a heading in the yearbook. So I'm going to use the move tool. We're going to drag the word Texans over and I'm going to center it. Again, instead of typing the word smash, we're going to type the word Texan. Okay, this is supposed to look like cartoon text, but I could see it again being a heading for something in your book. To add some tracking, so they want us to remove some space between the letters. We've done this before with the magazine cover, so we're going to go up here to the character panel and the VA in the white square. We're going to change that to -20. Okay, next we are going to add a little bit of warp to the text and make it kind of bent in. So we're going to click on the text tool again. Remember, before you edit text, you have to click on the text tool. I'm going to drag my mouse across or double click, either one works, to select all of the text. And we're going to click P at the top on the heel for warp text. Another way to warp text is to go to type, warp text. Either one of those work. In the drop down, we're going to click on arc. They want the bend to be 30. The horizontal distortion should be -30. So we're going to go ahead and type that in. And we're going to say OK. Now I'm using the move tool and move the text more to the center again. Now they want us to add a bunch of effects to the text. And of course, the way we need to do that is to open up our effects or layer style panel. Remember, we do that by double clicking the layer over to the right in a blank part of the layer so it doesn't think we're trying to rename the text. Okay, once you double click, your layer style box will pop up and we're going to start adding our effects. I'm going to come back once my box has popped up in the drop down. Alright, the first effect they want us to add is stroke. Remember, that's the border or outline for an object, in this case the text. So we're going to click on the row for stroke to activate that. It's going to check it. And we're going to enter the settings in instructions. It's important to have the instructions open so that you can see all the settings that I'm going through. I'm going to go through them fairly fast because I do expect you to have the instructions open already. Alright, size, we're going to type in 10 pixels. The position should be outside. Blend mode normal, so I'm changing it to that. Opacity, the amount of transparency or ability to see through the text is 100%, so it will not be see-through. I'm going to uncheck overprint because it doesn't say anything about that. Going down to the bottom, fill type should be gradient. Style should be shape burst. Angle should be 0, so I'm typing that in. Dither should be checked. And they are saying to set our gradient to be red and black. But you can set any combination you would like with red. I actually have a sort of a red gradient already here. Remember to set the gradient color. You click inside the box. And when that pops up, you can change the colors here. So I'm actually going to start with this black and white gradient because black should be the first color, red should be the second. We are going to select that, and then we're going to click the color at the end, which is white, and we're going to change that to red. So I'm going to go up and select a red color and say OK. Alright, now we have some semblance of what is in instructions, where the first half of the gradient is black and the second half is red. You can move these sliders a little bit if you would like. We're going to say OK, and then it's important that you click reverse because we actually want it to be flipped around. So we're going to do reverse, and now our gradient kind of looks like the instructions. Okay, we're going to go on to the next set of effects. It's all right to say OK just to see what your text looks like. Okay, we see we have the stroke the outline with the red and black gradient. Now to get back to the effects, you just double click on that layer. You can even click the effects themselves and the layer style box will pop back up. All right, the next thing they want us to do is add inner shadow. So we're going to click on that row to activate the inner shadow. Blend mode should be normal. We're going to make the color this yellow, so we're going to click inside the box and type the hexadecimal code to give us some instructions, which is FFF 000. Okay, and it makes this kind of gold color, which is pretty common in like comic strips and cartoons. We're going to say okay. Opacity should be 100%. I'm going to type that in. A lot easier than dealing with the slider. Angle. Is not given, so I'm going to say, oh wait, angle is 180. So we're going to do 180. We are going to uncheck use global light. Distance should be 3. Choke should be 100%. So we're going to type that in, size 0. And then they want us to actually check the box that says anti-aliased. So we're going to check that down here. And that is all for the inner shadow. We're going to go on to the next set of, now we're moving on to our next set of effects. After inner shadow, that is satin. Okay, so we're going to click on that row to activate the settings for that. Blend mode should be normal. The color is going to be that same yellow, FFF 000, and we'll say OK. Opacity should be 100%. Angle should be 90, and you can type that in. Distance should be 2 pixels. Size 0 pixels. Anti-alias should be checked, and invert should be unchecked. Okay, I'm just going through the list of settings for this and instructions. So again, important for you to have instructions open. Our next set of effects are color overlay. So we're going to click on that. We're going to do blend mode multiply. So we're going to click that in the drop down. The color is going to be that same yellow. And opacity is 100%. For color overlay, it's super important that you click the color mode or blend mode of multiply for this, or your project may not show up the way you want it to. Alright, next step is pattern overlay. So we're going to click on that row. There are many effects we're adding for this project. Okay, so the default is these sleeves here, which if you drag your layer style box over or effect box over, you can see the text a little bit. This is not what we want. We're going to change it to the dots, okay? So for pattern overlay, our blend mode is going to be normal, opacity 100%. Instead of these leaves or the trees pattern, we're going to click in the box, scroll down, and you'll see the dots here. For some reason I have 2, but anyway, you're going to click on that and you should see the sort of dots pattern along the bottom part of text. Now it is a gradient, so it kind of goes away a little bit at certain parts, but you should definitely see the dots pattern there. If you don't, you need to raise your hand and let me know you need help. Opacity, again, is 100. Scale is 100. And it looks like link with layer, it's checked. We are going to move on to the final sets of effects, which is outer glow and drop shadow. So outer glow, me on that. Blend mode is going to be normal. Opacity 100. The color of the glow is going to be that yellow. So we need to make sure it's a solid color. We're going to click in the box and we're going to make it FFF000. That same gold color that's really popular with cartoon text. We're going to say OK. The technique should be softer. Spread should be 94%. So I'm going to type that in. Size should be 11 pixels, which is a lot smaller than the large pixels we were using on the previous project. It says anti-alias should be checked, so I'm going to go ahead and check that. We are down to the final effect for our cartoon assignment. So drop shadow is the last effect. Blend mode is multiply. The color should be black, which for me is the default. The 6 zeros is the color black hexadecimal code. Opacity should be 100%. Says uncheck the use global light box. So we're going to do that and type in the angle of 120. Distance is 8. Spread should be 100%, so we're going to type that in. Size is 20 pixels. And the final step, if you didn't hear me before, is to make sure anti-alias is checked. That box there, and we are going to say, okay, we are done finally adding all these different effects, and now we have our Texans logo with the cartoon effect. So now it's time to save your project and turn it in. You're going to save it as a PNG. We're going to do File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. And that PNG file that you're going to save, you can save it as is, start background 1, whatever, PNG. .png, that is the file you're going to turn into Canvas. Make sure it is the PNG file because that is the only file type accepted. And I hope this video helped you complete the cartoon assignment in Photoshop.